We see the headlines, we see the vanity, we see the red carpets. And the world assumes if you're in a movie with Emily Blunt and Chris Evans, you must be rich. My name's Neil Kelly, I'm an actor, and I was in the movie Pain Hustlers on Netflix, directed by David Yates. The budget was massive. By all accounts, I had made it. But there is a silent fear that a lot of actors are scared to talk about. A secret that we keep because we don't want to look ungrateful. The reality is you can book the job and still struggle to pay rent. Today, I am going to be doing something that might get me in trouble with my agents. I will be going line by line, dollar by dollar, how much Netflix actually paid me to be in a feature film. We're not just looking at the big number either. We're looking at the taxes, the union dues, the little tiny tricks they have in there. And not to mention the weirdest part of all, how I made $13,000 by just staring at a wall in a hotel room. If you want the truth about the working actor lifestyle, buckle up, this is going to be a doozy. And real quick, if you're wondering how to build a career that actually gets you into positions like this, roles like this, projects like this, I help actors do that. So don't just watch me break down my career and paychecks, let's work on yours. Feel free to click in the description, in the pinned comment down below, I'd love to work with you. Before we talk about the crazy bonuses I got, let's talk about just my base pay. When you book a movie like this where you're working for extended periods of time, usually you aren't working a day rate, you're working a week rate. You're hired on a weekly scale. Now here's the reality of my contract. Originally, I was hired for only 3 weeks. I had a specific role, a specific start and end date, and I was at $11,000 for those 3 weeks. That was the guarantee. I was thrilled. I packed my bags. I flew to Atlanta. I was like, I'll do my 3 weeks and then I'll head on home. But then something happened that every actor dreams of. I'm on set, we're shooting a scene, and the director, David Yates, yes, the man who directed Harry Potter, came up to me. He looked at me and he said, Neil, we really like what you're doing. We're going to add you to a few more scenes. My heart stopped. This isn't just an ego boost. Of course, it was a little bit of an ego boost, but it was also a huge financial pivot for me. More scenes meant I wasn't going home on week 3. I was going home after week 4. Week 5. After 6 weeks, double the amount of time. So now my base pay wasn't $11,000, it was $22,536. And because this was a scale plus 10 contract, that means Netflix paid my agent fees for me. I kept every penny of that base pay. Now, if the story just ended here, I'd be happy. But movies are always messy. And in the union world, messy means more money. Let's add to the chaos. So I'm in Atlanta. I'm getting ready to work on these extra scenes and bam, production stalls. Weather changes, schedule shifts, all that jazz. Basically, it turns into they need me to stay in town, but they don't need me on set quite yet. Look at this number. No, like really look at it. I was paid $13,146 for hold days. That means I sat in my hotel room waiting, not allowed to leave, just waiting for the phone to ring, being like, hey, let's get you on set. I like to call this the boredom tax. I spent 3 weeks in a hotel room just staring at the wall. I did self-tapes in the bathroom because the lighting was better. I also was staying on Georgia Tech's campus, kind of close to there, so I just walk around the campus just to feel like I saw some human being. Basically made $3,000 a week to be lonely. It is the easiest money I've ever made and one of the weirdest ways to earn a living. But then, why I'm actually there. Phone rings, hey, we need you on set, 5 a.m. This is where the work begins. I get a line item called forced call. SAG-AFTRA guarantees you a 12-hour turnaround, which really means rest period. If they wrap you one day late and then make you come in early the next without giving you that 12-hour break, they get a penalty. I made $1,652 because they didn't let me sleep enough one day. So there I am, waking up, it's 4:30 a.m., my eyes are burning, and I go, it's time to go to set. I was thrilled because that exhaustion, I can take it. Those are some billable hours. I was running on pure adrenaline, but getting paid to be tired, I could do that for a day. So we've built the stack. The gross pay is $34,767. That is the number I tell my mom. Now let's look at the number I tell my bank account. Federal tax, minus $6,000. FICA and Medicare, minus $2,000. Union dues, minus $547. And that got really weird because I saw this. California state tax. Now remember, I was working in Atlanta, Georgia, but then I realized because my address for my home was California, even though I was working in Georgia, I got taxed twice. Georgia took their cut because I worked there. California took their cut because I lived there. I panicked. I literally thought I was being scammed. Why am I paying for the 405 freeway when in reality, I'm working off of Peachtree Street? Side note, I just want to be clear, you do end up getting a credit back from the state that you didn't actually work in. I had to learn that. I was freaking out, so I want all of you to know that. But in the moment, ooh, it feels like robbery. So let's do the final math. Gross pay, $34,767. Taxes and deductions, minus $13,344. My net pay comes out to $21,422. For 6 weeks of my life, that averages out to about $3,500 a week in pay. Is that good money? Yes. Is that movie star money? No. It pays off the credit card, it fixes the car up, it keeps food on the table. But then here's the catch. After that job, I didn't book another one because of a little strike that happened for over another year. So that $21,000, it didn't have to just last me those 6 weeks. It has to last me 12 months. Of course, I have supplementary income too. But that is why we as working actors aren't rich. We're cash rich and time poor. So I wish the story ended here. Neil got his $21,000. He went home and lived happily ever after. But there is one more cost that isn't necessarily on a pay stub. It's the cost of your ego. I worked so hard on this film for 6 weeks. It was a film about the opioid crisis, about real people's lives. I wanted to honor the victims. I wanted to impress my co-stars. I wanted to show David Yates, hey, I'm good. I can work with you. And the movie comes out, I sit down with my popcorn in the theater, and most of my scene was cut. In the final edit, it just moved past. I'm there for a flash, and then the movie just kind of moves on. I find out they had to cut the scene for time. And that, my friends, is the hard truth of being a working actor. You can get the union protections, the financial stability from them, the scale plus 10s, the forced calls, but you can't buy your way into the final cut. At the end of the day, we're all just a piece of the whole puzzle. We're skilled labor. We build up the wall, but sometimes the architect decides, let's take that one wall down, make this part a little bigger. And does it hurt? Yeah, it's disappointing. Does it make any of the money I made feel less value? No. Does it make me feel less valuable as an actor? No. Because I was there. I saw how the sausage got made at the highest level. I watched masters at work in the room, and I got paid a living wage to just learn from them. So was it worth it to sit in a hotel room for 3 weeks, to wake up at 4:30 a.m. almost every day, to get hit with those double state taxes, and then find out that a majority of my scene is cut from the film? 100%. Because this is the job. It is not red carpets. It is pay stubs and penalties and taxes. And most of all, patience. Knowing that we are giving ourselves over to something bigger. So if you're an actor who wants to start focusing on the reality of this business and really making a path for yourself, I'd love to work with you. I work with actors to help them build specific strategies for themselves and develop their skills as performers. Feel free to click the link in the description down below and the pinned comment. Let's chat. I'd appreciate it if you made it this far in the video. If you like, hit the bell and subscribe and the hype button. I'd love to see you guys some more. All right, thanks so much. Mwah.